With epic natural beauty, awesome adventure activities, and endless things to do and photograph, Queenstown is one of my favourite places in the world. Let me show you how to spend 48 hours in picturesque Queenstown. Flying into Queenstown from Australia on a clear day is without a doubt a spectacular sight as you pass over the Southern Alps. You get amazing views of this picture-perfect mountain range. The flight takes you over the town of Glenorchy and alongside the stunning Lake Wakatipu. Circling to the airport gives you a bird's eye view of Queenstown and the Kararau and Shotover rivers. In my opinion, there's not many better approaches to an airport. What a way to start 2 days in Queenstown. And it got even better when I discovered this view from my hotel room. With downtown Queenstown only a short 10-minute walk from the hotel, I headed straight into town to the lakefront to have a look around. Queenstown Bay and its beach is the ideal place to first experience the postcard scenery of Lake Wakatipu and the stunning surrounding mountains. People swim here during summer and there are water sport activities like stand-up paddleboards and kayaks which you can hire. The lakefront is a magnet for tourists and locals alike. It's a great place to go for a walk along the water's edge, sitting down and relaxing, or having something to eat with this magical view. I've been to Queenstown quite a few times and you don't always get weather like this, so I was going to make the most of this gorgeous day. The great thing about Queenstown is it's a great place to explore on foot as everything is close by. Walking further into town, you will find a number of jetties with tour operators and water sports centres. Keep walking along the lake's edge, you'll pass lots of local arts and crafts stalls, bars and restaurants. Queenstown is known as the adventure capital of New Zealand, and it's easy to see why, with parasailing, jet boating and paragliding happening all around you. There is also these really cool subs that go under the water. Another activity that I absolutely loved while I was in Queenstown was quad biking, especially after there had been some rain. But be warned, you will get absolutely covered in mud. Back to the Queenstown Wharf Walk, which takes you along the crystal clear waters of the lake and marina. Eventually, you will reach Steamer Wharf, which has a number of cool bars and restaurants. It's also where the steamship, the TSS Earnslaw, departs from, but more on that later in the video. A short walk along Lake Esplanade and you get to the perfect vantage point to look back across the lake into Queenstown with the remarkable mountains range in the background. If you're after somewhere to eat for lunch, you can't go to Queenstown and not try Ferg burgers. In fact, time spent waiting in the queue to order has become an essential Queenstown experience. I must have arrived at just the right time because I didn't have to wait too long and even managed to get a seat, but it didn't take long to get busy again. What makes Ferg so good is that they make everything themselves, from buns to sauces, and the burgers are truly delicious. They even expanded to create an ice cream and gelato shop called Mrs. Ferg's and a bakery called Ferg Baker. For the sweet tooths, you have to try Patagonia chocolates. Located on the Wakatipu lakefront, is the place to go for delicious handcrafted chocolates, locally roasted coffee, decadent desserts, and award-winning ice cream. This bad boy went down really well. And yes, they have a Starbucks, which for me is a big plus because I am addicted to their chai lattes. If the queue is too long at Ferg Burgers and you'd like a taste of Hollywood, check out Wahlburgers. Owned by Mark Wahlberg and his brothers Paul and Donnie. Donnie was in New Kids on the Block, which was my favourite band as a 12-year-old, so if you do the math, you can figure out how old I am. Wahlburgers offers an array of burgers, pizzas and signature drinks. As you can see, it was definitely not as busy as Ferg Burgers. Wahlburgers is located at the top of the hill just below Skyline Queenstown, which is where I headed to next. The Skyline Gondola, which is the steepest cable car lift in the Southern Hemisphere, costs $59 for one return ride. You're welcome to board the gondola at any time during operating hours. I recommend booking online so you don't have to wait to buy a ticket. The gondola ride takes you up 480 metres to the top of Bob's Peak, offering amazing views of Queenstown and Lake Wakatipu. At the top there is the Stratosphere restaurant, which serves both lunch and dinner, a cafe and a gift shop. But what you're really here for is the view. And wow, what a view it is. If you're not sure what you are looking at, there is a map, but you get to see Walter Peak, Cecil Peak, the Remarkables, Coronet Peak, and of course down into Queenstown. Something else you can try, which is great for any age, is the Queenstown Luge. Part go-kart, part toboggan, it works using gravity. There's 1,600 metres of track and a chairlift that gets you back to the top for another ride. It's about an extra $30 depending on how many rides you want, but this activity is super fun. I loved it. The views of Queenstown on the ride back down are just as spectacular as from the top. When you are in Queenstown, one thing you should try to fit into your itinerary is the exquisitely scenic drive to Glenorchy. It's packed full of gorgeous places to stop. The first place I recommend is Wilson's Bay. Wilson's Bay is about 10 kilometres from Queenstown. It's a beautiful spot with crystal clear waters and the impressive mountains surrounding it, including Walter Peak. It's a great place to go kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, sailing, or just relaxing. The road to Glenorchy from Queenstown along the shores of the mighty Lake Wakatipu is one of the most scenic drives in New Zealand, if not the world. It takes about 45 minutes each way without stops, but of course you will be stopping because the photo opportunities are endless. About 15 minutes from Wilson's Bay is Bennett's Bluff Lookout. It's well marked with a large parking lot and a small walking track to the lookout. It probably has the best views of Lake Wakatipu along the drive. From Bennett's Bluff Lookout, the drive and views just keep getting better. A few minutes down the road is Paradise Wharf, which is the remains of an old wooden jetty. This place is famous among photographers as the jetty makes an awesome foreground for the beautiful mountains in the background. From here it's about another 15 minutes to Glenorchy, but I did have to make one more stop to take this quintessential New Zealand scene of lush green grass, sheep and towering mountains. I'm sure this sheep was trying to stare me down. But the number one reason to drive from Queenstown to Glenorchy is to explore the pretty town of Glenorchy. In particular, the famous red railway shed and the beautiful old jetty on the lake. Make sure you walk to the end of the jetty. It provides a great vantage point to enjoy 180-degree views of the lake and surrounding mountains. and of course to get some beautiful photos. If you want to know some other awesome photography locations, check out my camper van video, which I will link below. A couple of bonus locations if you're in Glenorchy in spring and looking for lupins is along the Glenorchy Paradise Road at Precipice Creek. Make sure you check both sides of the road because you might have a nice blue sky looking the other way. The second location is just a bit further along at the Rees River Bridge viewpoint. Lupins, a glacial river, and magnificent mountains. What more could you ask for? With the day coming to an end, you'll be looking for somewhere for dinner. One of my favourite places in Queenstown is Fat Badger's Pizzeria. Fat Badger's has a really relaxed vibe, cool murals, and delicious pizza. And they are huge too. And yes, he ate it all. Just kidding, but most of it. One thing you can always count on in New Zealand is the weather changing daily, but don't let an overcast day stop you from exploring. If you're looking for a cool place for breakfast, check out Yonder on Church Street. It's really popular with locals, with great coffee and delicious food, in particular the pancakes, which is what I needed for what was coming up next. If you're after an adrenaline-filled fun adventure, then you have to try jet boating. And I definitely recommend Shotover Jet. Located less than 10 minutes drive from central Queenstown, Shotover Jet is situated on the Shotover River and is the only jet boat operator permitted in the Shotover Canyons. It costs 159 New Zealand dollars and the ride lasts 25 minutes, which may seem a little expensive, but it's well worth it. Make sure you wear sunglasses and a waterproof jacket because you will get wet. Reaching speeds of up to 90 kilometers an hour, the jet boat races along the spectacular Shotover River, taking you deep into the incredible canyons. These steep rock walls have been carved over thousands of years by billions of tons of fast-flowing river water from the heart of these southern Alps. The only way you can film this is using a GoPro on a head mount because you need to be hanging on the whole time with both hands. After the thrill of going through the canyon, the next best part is the 360-degree spins. The skill of the drivers is incredible as you are only a few feet from the canyon walls. It's truly an epic experience that I highly recommend. If you're after a more sedate on-the-water experience, why not take a cruise across Lake Wakatipu aboard the iconic century-old coal-fired steamship, the TSS Earnslaw. The boat departs regularly throughout the day from the steamer wharf dock. The cruise lasts 90 minutes and costs 99 New Zealand dollars. Be there early because it does get busy. The trip takes you across the lake, past the Remarkables mountain range and Cecil Peak, and eventually down to Walter Peak High Country Farm. Even on a cloudy day like today, the views are spectacular and the emerald green coloured water is gorgeous. Inside the boat, there are plenty of places to sit and enjoy the ride. There's also a cafe, licensed bar, and even live music. You can also check out the engine room to see the giant steam engines at work, which is pretty cool. In the bow of the boat is a mini museum with a collection of historical photos of the steamship's former life. The halfway point of the cruise is the beautifully restored Walter Peak High Country Farm. The staff actually come out to greet you with a big wave, but the four-legged welcoming party was the absolute best. If you want to disembark here, you can choose to add a Walter Peak Farm tour or a famous gourmet long lunch to your ticket. At 175 New Zealand dollars, it was a little bit expensive, so I chose not to do it, but maybe next time. Once everyone had departed the boat, it was time to head back to Queenstown, and the best thing was, I practically had the boat to myself. I did have a little FOMO, to be honest though. As you approach Queenstown, the captain warns everyone about what was about to happen, but it still scared the crap out of me. I can certainly recommend the TSS Earnslaw, as it's the perfect way to experience Lake Wakatipu and some of Queenstown's spectacular alpine scenery. Last but not least, one location you must visit, particularly if you're a photographer, is Frankton Beach, which is about a 10-minute drive from Queenstown. It's a great place for a swim, a picnic, a bike ride, or even a walk. For photographers, it has half a dozen jetties which make fantastic leading lines for your landscape photos, and if it's a calm day, you can get awesome reflections on the water. We hung around for sunset and got lucky with some colour in the sky. If you're planning to head to Mount Cook, Aoraki, or Lake Tekapo, or Lake Makaki, then you need to check out these videos next. Thanks for watching!